Be happy. Be happy.
Be happy. Be happy, mommy.
Come on, keep your chill. Enjoy this time.
Smile.
Smile, smile, my darling.
Honey, you have to count your blessings.
Welcome to Creative Mamas Unplugged. We are your hosts. I'm Cherice Barton.
And I'm Shelly Hutchinson. Creative Mamas Unplugged is a podcast where we navigate the hell out of being a creative mom with humor and heart.
We will have honest conversations,
Hear wise words from fellow badass mamas.
and share hilarious stories around motherhood for some much-needed comic relief. Listen, motherhood is the most creative, most difficult job in the world. You are not alone, and you deserve to be happy.
Welcome back to part 2 of my incredible chat with Yumiko Takeshima. You know, after 30 years of friendship, it was such a treat to get cozy and reconnect for this episode. Yumi is a dancer, a designer, an entrepreneur, and an incredible mom. She's also a beautiful human and friend. She shared with me how she's built a global dancewear brand while also raising a family. We dive into how to set boundaries, make time for self-care, say no without feeling guilty, which I'm still working on. We also chat about what success really means, the power of slowing down in a busy world, and the importance of community. Enjoy.
And I never really plan it. I mean, of course, I have to sometimes if I have deadline, being asked, okay, you got to introduce something by this fall, or so then I really think about it. But often it comes from inspiration of the dancer.
It's so interesting, creativity is like, it's an amazing thing. And it comes out in so many different ways. And so much of the time people get stuck, and everyone out there reaches a point at some point in their careers or in their lives, or we get stuck a little bit, and stuck in our own minds, or stuck in a place where we're not 100% where we really want to be. And I think it's really hard to tap into what it is that we desire, or what it is that will help us feel truly happy. It's said that, meditation and or really just clearing your mind and following your passion, what interests you. Like for me, I just remain curious, and then I kind of go in that direction, and then how naturally the universe just kind of like delivers.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But also to ask yourself, what am I interested in? I think this is a all-time question though, all our lives, really. I think it starts when you're young, maybe when you turn like teenagers, and it doesn't end. Really. Also, like, who am I kind of thing. It doesn't end. And it just sometimes, you also need a break from thinking that. It's like, all right, I just take a break in that. Yeah, like you said, sometimes it just comes, let it happen is also a great thing.
So true. I remember when I was ending my dance career, I mean, I didn't dance as long as you did. I was approaching 30, and I remember thinking, okay, I could continue to dance for another 10 years, or I could decide to make a transition now so that I don't have to make the transition when I'm 40. And I made that conscious decision. I was like, okay, I don't want to have to do that when I'm 40. So I'm going to reinvent myself now. But I didn't know.
But it's amazing you started so young. I mean, it is scary to get started. That's the thing. I mean, you're really brave, I think, to get started at so young. Amazing. But you also still have so much more stamina to do it, which is important. When you get older, you just naturally like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or
I know. But it was actually when Crystal Pite, Crystal, right?
Yeah, of course. Oh, she's amazing. I loved. I saw her piece in Paris Opera.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
incredible.
She's
Wow.
amazing. So she and I grew up together. So we've been friends for a long time. And
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, a very long time. I'm very fortunate to have her in my life. She's incredible.
Wow.
She's also a mama. But she and I went to Las Vegas together to see some of the Cirque shows there, because we had heard about them and we hadn't seen any of them. And so the two of us saw a lot of those shows when we were there. And that was a moment where I was like, so happy that I followed my curiosity, because I saw the show and I thought, how in the hell
can I manifest this? Like and I did. I worked very hard to be able to get to work
Wow.
with Franco Dragon, and I was working as the resident choreographer of Le Rêve in Las Vegas. And then that led me to doing other sort of big shows like that. And so I kind of found my way and I found my path, which, taking on different roles kind of brought me to where I am today. And I was curious.
Wow, it hit you.
Yeah, like you, it wasn't a specific, like, I want to be a choreographer. That's my sister, Azure. She wanted to be a choreographer, and it was like,
Yes, she's
boom.
done great.
Yes.
Really great work. Wow.
Really amazing work. For me, I was like, I can choreograph and I enjoy it, but I didn't have the same drive or passion. So I felt a little bit guilty or lost. One thing that I did know that I really wanted, though, was I wanted to be a mom. When did you
Yeah.
decide you wanted to be a mom? Were you still dancing?
Yes, I have to say, I always like kids, but way too busy dancing and way too much fun dancing. And I just, when am I gonna have kids? I remember one time dancing in Dresden Semperoper. There was a great ballet mistress named Laura Graham. She was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you still can get pregnant because the great repertoire is coming up next season." She said something like that to me, and I just laughed so hard because she was like right on. I was like, "Oh my god, you're right. I have to dance that."
Yeah.
It was like, but I shouldn't put this on the I shouldn't have compared having a kid and doing a repertoire. Like I shouldn't have even thought about it. Really,
Yeah.
if I think about it now. But yeah, I didn't really want to say that, okay, I've done all my dancing, therefore I could have a kid. No, I should have just always thought kids is a pleasure. So just have a kid when you need to, or when you want to, or, kid arrived, great. But somehow it happened that, yes, I feel like I danced everything I needed to or I wanted to. And there he was. And I'm like, oh, thank you for coming in such a great time. I was a very old mom, but I still had a great stamina. The only thing I did not expect was it was taking so much of my time, which
Oh,
I did not expect this kind of time consuming raising the kid or, baby.
yeah.
Baby is like 24 hours, which I've heard of it, but I just never even thought this is driving me crazy, of course, because I have to get up middle of the night. And I love sleeping. I always slept a lot since I'm a kid. And also getting ready to, get the food ready and somehow go back to dancing again. And it was like, how am I going to do all this? And I just remember going to theater a little bit airheaded. Like I couldn't even think because I didn't sleep, or
Yeah.
maybe I slept enough, but in my head it was like, if I don't sleep, I don't dance well kind of feeling. So at the beginning was like, oh no, this is like, I don't know how to deal with that. Yeah, that went on for quite a bit. But I actually stopped dancing 1 year after I had him.
Okay.
So it didn't go on too long, that.
Okay. But you were still designing.
Designing, yes, that I always did on the side at the same time. But I have to say, I was also a little bit airheaded.
Yeah.
Couldn't really think of design while I was taking care of baby in my arm. And I crying sometimes. I'm like, I can't design right now. I can't even think.
It's hard. I mean, we all, every mom is different, but, for the most part, I think most of the moms that I've spoken with, those first like 5, even 10 years there is like a push and pull, and there is sacrifice that has to be made with our work, because so much of our energy goes into creation. And when all of that energy is going to the baby or to the toddler or to the little kid or to the responsibilities of taking care of them, there's not a lot of room left.
Room left, not much thoughts left. It's a bit like, I can't offer anything nice. It's just like, I'm just here and that's it. It felt like that.
But you still managed to do some design and keep the business going during that time, but you feel like it slowed down a little bit?
Yes, it did slow down quite a bit because I couldn't even focus. My brain wasn't focused enough to do it somehow. I had to do it, but I feel like I just got by, kind of.
Yeah.
until he was a little bigger, a little bit more independent. But
Yeah.
you had two girls
I
while you
did.
were working freelancing. This must be like,
Yeah. It's
wow,
hard.
how did you skid
Yeah.
yourself?
It was hard. I mean, my first baby came along and you know, I was in New York and I would just bring her everywhere with me. And
Yeah.
one of my best friends, he's now the executive producer of Dancing with the Stars, but he and I worked together in Vegas and we used to hang out together all the time. And he said to me, he said, "Oh my God, honey." He's like, "You're in denial." I was like, "What do you mean I'm in denial?" He was like, I was like, "My life hasn't changed at all." Like I was literally bringing her, like she was like a designer bag, like I would just take her with me.
Amazing.
I would go have cocktails with my gay friends, and she would be there in the stroller. And like, my life shifted when
Wow.
she was young. Then 9 months
Wow.
later, after
Yeah.
she was born, I got pregnant again.
Okay.
And it was when the second one started really growing in my belly. And then I had a little 1-year-old in New York. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God. I mean, obviously, that was when reality hit. And that was when I was no longer in denial. I was in acceptance. Like, hey, and it was freezing cold out. I had to figure out how to like push the stroller in the snow and the wind and
Oh yeah.
my husband at the time was able to support us, but we were barely like scraping by, and
Wow.
my sister Carissa was living, Carissa, you lived with Carissa. Um,
Yeah.
she was living in Los Angeles at the time, and she said, "Why don't you guys come here?" And I remember thinking, LA. Like, I never imagined leaving New York. For me, New York was the greatest city in the world. She said, just, it's a good quality of life. The weather's good. You both work in entertainment. You could probably do really well out here. She's like, why don't you just come out for a weekend and see? It was like freezing cold in New York. We flew to LA. The birds are like chirping. There's hummingbirds everywhere.
Right.
We were staying at my brother-in-law's beautiful home in the Hollywood Hills. And it was just like,
Oh.
hey, I think I could do this. And pretty early on, we got a part-time nanny, and
Mhm.
she was wonderful. She's still family.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and so
Oh.
what it did was it allowed me, like, probably, I would say on average about 3 days a week where I could focus on my creative projects. Obviously, not in the same capacity as I would have been able to had I not had children, but I was able to, stay with, my foot in the water, so to speak, of my creative work. If I was traveling with my own company, I would bring the kids with me. If I traveled on independent contractor gigs, I would arrange for friends and family and our nanny and people to kind of help.
Wow, full on. Oh, scheduling yourself and oh.
Especially when we don't have family around, right?
Yeah, we don't. I cannot imagine. I mean, maybe even if my mom was around, she's a little bit too old to take care of him. I would maybe even worry that she
Yeah,
she might get up in trouble or something.
yeah.
But it must be pretty nice when the whole family around is helping out. It
It
really,
really
I can't even imagine that, but it must be great.
But one thing that I can say is I am grateful for my community of friends and other moms now,
Mm,
the other dads and people that I can count on when, oh
yeah.
my gosh, can you pick up? And I'm a
Uh,
single mom now, right? So now it's even
yeah.
twice as hard.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's great. It also, yeah, getting to know other people like that. I mean, wonderful. Great
Yeah.
community there.
Now I am starting to work more and I love
Yeah.
it so much. And I think that had I stopped for
Mhm.
10 years, it would have been much harder to kind of get back into
Yeah.
this world now. I've kept my connections and I've kept my contacts over the years so that, now
Yeah.
I can work more, which is I'm grateful for. That's one thing that I'm grateful that I
That's great. And
no,
your girls, I'm sure they're very helpful, I'm sure. Why
and
is this the girls are so much more together, I have to say? Seeing my son lose like 6 gloves a year during the winter time. What is this? I don't hear that about the girls, and they always do their homework on time. They bring the things that they need to bring to the school. I
yeah.
mean, why can't boys do that?
My first child, she's very, very, very organized and very on top of
Great.
my second child, she leaves her water bottle. I have to buy water bottles practically every week because I don't
Oh,
like she
sounds
leaves.
like my son.
She does not. I have to make sure she's getting better now at doing her homework. But for a couple of years there, I mean, I had to sit next to her and make sure that she did it. But
Oh,
she's just a free spirit. She just wants to play,
yeah,
and
that's great.
I think she and Nobu would have a lot of fun together.
Oh yeah, they'll get lost. They'll be like, "See ya."
Yeah.
I'm like, when are they coming back? Or okay, yeah. So he's like that. Yes, very
I
free
think
spirit.
they're very similar, like adventurous spirit, but also very street smart. Like she is very emotionally intelligent, as is Nobu, and she's very street smart and she's very wise. And even when she was a baby, I remember looking at her and being like, she's gonna be just fine in life. Like she's just
Oh,
got this spirit of just like she's tough and she's gonna be fine. The other one is more, like I said, more organized, more put together, more
yeah,
elastic. So yeah.
yeah. Amazing. Now how they're so different, sisters.
Yeah, they're so different. Did you find that
Mhm.
that being a mother influenced your work or had any kind of influence over your work, or are they just
Yeah, I yes and no because I became a lot of times airheaded thinking about my son, if he was gonna be okay, if he's okay, what's he doing in the kindergarten today, or he's a little sick. Do I need to take him in the hospital? Do I not take him in the hospital? I mean, yeah, took over so many things from my mind, and maybe the good thing I have learned from it was just try to concentrate in a short time as much as I can when I have the time, if I have the time. Maybe something like that. But I have to say creativity level did not
okay?
go up that much. I think it was creativity. I really need to have my own time,
Yeah.
have my chill time, like feel almost nothing. Then I can be more creative, I think.
What is your chosen routine, or what is it that you do for yourself outside of being a mom and Yumiko?
I don't really have things I do. For example, I don't go work out. I don't do exercise. I don't do yoga. And the day I stopped dancing, that was it for me physically. I knew that. So I really pretty much do nothing except for I just really need to have my own time. This I do not give up somehow. I always needed, like even during the time I was dancing, I always skipped the ballet class in the morning just to have my time. I needed to go walk my dog, space out with my dog, or I need to have my time, even if I'm doing dishes. I don't like to rush it. I just really like to have my own time doing dishes, or read comic books is my wonderful, relaxing thing to do. I have tons of comic books I brought from Japan. Also, my sister sends me comic books all the time.
Oh, I love that.
This I love. And yeah, I don't do anything that much, nothing special, but really have my own time. My quiet time is super important for me.
And you make that a priority, and you did that as a dancer too. And I remember that when we were dancing together. That's really admirable. In order for you to be your best self, to deliver the best product, to be the best mom, to create the best leotards, to perform at your highest level, you know that you need that Yumi time. And
Yes, it's so weird. It's not like anyone said it, but maybe I just learned it from my sister, like living with my sister in a room for years. She always thought sleep was very important. And I became the same. I was like, I need to sleep. Sleeping is important. And somehow that dragged me into, yeah, having my own time, my own schedule. Drove everyone else crazy, including ballet mistress or somebody, choreographers coming to set the piece. I drove them crazy because I was like, I'm doing this today and not tomorrow. And they're like, why is she making her own schedule? Apparently, they were really complaining about me, but I couldn't help it. I was like, that's the only way I could do it in order to, yes, have a best performance.
yeah,
To come on the stage 8 o'clock at night, I need to have my nap, or I need
yeah.
to have my own time. I'm gonna come to theater and just be quiet. I skip out ballet classes, but I've done my warm up. I always done my warm up in 20 minutes, which I do super intense warm up. I do like 1,000 tendus and 1,000 relevés, but very minimum things, but to the point where I start sweating a bit and then I'm ready. So I wasn't tired to start dancing, but I was warm enough to get started. That was kind of my thing. And that was what I needed to do. Just I included everybody else and drove them crazy. I feel bad about that now, but I just had to do it.
No, but it's so important. It's so important. And so many people don't do that. So many dancers don't do that for sure. So many, they're just yes people, yes and yes and.
What's
No,
so sad is that people get injured doing that. That I realize. And then because they push it and they get injured, and maybe they have to be operated and they're out for 3 months. Where okay, I did see people do that. So if I have pain, I just say sorry. I'm not dancing for 3 days, and drove everyone crazy. It's like, why is she not dancing for 3 days for having such a little pain? But I was like, I take off 3 days and I'm healed. Somehow I knew that about my body. So I never had to be operated, or I just like, okay, everybody hates me, but I'm gone for 3 days, and I was back on fine. So it was that guts to say that. Of course, I felt kind of bad at the beginning, but I lasted a little bit longer, which I think a lot of dancers need to be able to say that to avoid their, long-term leave
Yeah.
in a way.
No, it's very inspiring. It really is. And to carry that through your life, and you're still doing it now. And it's just really
Yeah.
inspiring. It's so important, and it's hard for some people to do.
It is hard. It is really hard. I mean, of course, I do have a hard time saying that too. I mean, I have to say, as for when I was a dancer, I felt a lot stronger to say, no, I'm not doing it. Sorry. More and more get older, I say, okay, I might say no, but I will try as much as possible.
Creative Mamas Unplugged is produced by Breatheasy Productions with music by Jeremy Jurin. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give my mama 5 stars and keep coming back. Thanks to us kids, there are plenty of stories to tell. And you are not alone. Bye for now.